If you're shopping for a new vehicle, you're probably understanding that Tesla is one of the more popular vehicles to purchase. Today, we're going to talk about the cost of the insurance for Tesla, which model, and how much they typically cost. Going back to the previous car insurance, you're noticing that the average premium increase per year has been about 16%. So recently we've seen 30 and 40% hits, but across the board, some companies have raised more, some companies raised less, some companies were just charging not enough. So in general, you're going to see about a 16% increase year over year, something to think about when you're purchasing insurance. However, the insurance most recently going from 2024 into 2025 and probably 2026, pending any major disasters or occurrences, we're seeing a lower increase in the next couple months. Now we're seeing about a 7 to 8% increase from the previous year. We're noticing that car insurance companies kind of leveled off where the increase isn't as large. We're not having as many deaths. Some of the cars are getting smarter, and now we're driving a lot more Teslas. Let's go over the details on which cars are the most expensive and why they are that way if you're looking at purchasing a Tesla. Okay, I know you want to get right into it, but I forgot to mention that the average cost of insurance, according to most articles, you're going to see Value Penguin or Insurify, they're going to talk about $2,100 to $2,500 per year, and that's pretty common. If you're in states like Michigan or Texas or Florida or California, you're going to see a lot larger premium. You're going to be closer to that $3,000 to $3,500 per year, depending on the types of vehicles and the coverages that you have to carry. Keep in mind, you want to make sure you have the right coverages, especially if you can afford a Tesla. Typically, that means you have some expendable income, and if that's the case, there's more to protect than just the car. I'll link a video at the end that goes over some of the details on the coverages you should carry. But in general, the cost of a Tesla has been significantly more expensive than your average $2,000 to $3,000, depending on the state that you're in. Most people don't understand that credit does play a very large factor. It's called an insurance score. So it's technically not credit, but in general, it's credit. And that does play a large factor. So what you're noticing is, depending on the model of Tesla, they've actually got the numbers on what the best credit is versus the age, because that also plays a factor. For example, if you are purchasing a Cybertruck, odds are 66% of the time you have the better credit. You're going to get a better premium within reason of the cost and the value of the car than you would if you were to drive a Model Y or a Model S. 66% of Tesla owners that have a Cybertruck typically have a really good credit or insurance score, and they get some of the better rates. Where only 13% have really good credit with the Model 3. And yes, the Model 3 and it's kind of a weird consideration because it does matter on the resistance, the cost to repair the vehicle, the typical breakdown, the liability risk if you're injured. There's a lot more to factor in than just the person's credit. It's also the vehicle, the location. There's kind of a profile that's created for shopping for insurance. And if you haven't already guessed it, the Model 3 is one of the most expensive Teslas to insure. They're about 86% more than the average cost of car insurance, coming in at over $4,300 per year versus the typical $2,300 to $2,500 per year vehicle. The second is the Model Y, coming in at about 64% more expensive than the national average. You're going to pay about $3,700 per year on average for insurance for a Model Y. Next up, there's not a huge difference, but there's about a 57% above national average if you're going to drive the Model X. The Model X is an average of about $3,600 per year to insure, based on the typical insurance score and all the things that we just kind of mentioned. Now, there's really only two models left, and you may have guessed it. We've got the Model S and the Cybertruck. Which one do you think is the least expensive? Put it in the comments below. You'd actually be shocked when we give this answer here in just a moment. Before I do that, while you're typing in the comments which one you think is going to be the least expensive, kind of put a number down there with how much you think it is, and then let me know afterwards if you thought it was correct. Sometimes going to companies like Tesla is going to be even more expensive. Your best route, if you're looking for better insurance, is to shop with an independent agent. Most independent agents can check all of the main companies. So you can check with Nationwide, with Allstate, sometimes Geico, Progressive, National General, Travelers. There's all of these companies that some of them, depending on the state that you live in, are more competitive with the type of Tesla vehicles that you're looking for. I'll put a link in the description below if you are shopping for new insurance where you can get a quote with a local agent. That way they can do the shopping for you, find out which one is the better deal so you can hopefully get better rates than what we're showing here. If you haven't already guessed it, the Model S is actually the next most expensive car insurance. It's coming in at about a 50% increase above the national average according to some of the comparable sites. You're noticing that the average cost is right around $3,500 per year. And that leaves the Cybertruck at about 45%, coming in just under $3,400, right around the $3,300 mark per year above the national average. So you're seeing a few $100s more expensive to have those vehicles. In all honesty, if you're paying $100 and something thousand for a vehicle, you're likely going to pay more either way. But over the national average, as safe as these vehicles are and as good as they drive on their own, the cost to repair them is way more expensive, which causes insurance prices to skyrocket. You'd actually be surprised that the next best vehicle to insure that's not a Tesla is the Ford F-150. The Ford F-150 Lightning is only coming in about 37% more than a national average. It's still more than normal because the cost of repairs are up there. The deaths are less in those vehicles because they're just trucks and they're meant to be protective and do all the things. And you're probably looking about $3,100 per year-ish, depending on credit and insurance score and all of that. Let me know if you were close with what your guess was in the description below. There is also that link if you are looking for quotes for any type of EV vehicle, car insurance, or home insurance. Otherwise, the video that we talked about that would be helpful is knowing the coverages that you should carry beyond just covering the vehicle. What kind of bodily injury limits should you have? What's your liability risk? All of those pieces that make up a car insurance policy. Once you know that that's the coverage you need to carry, you can start to shop for some of those better rates. I've got a video here that will go a lot farther in depth on the 101 of car insurance. Otherwise, if you're looking for discounts and you're just trying to find some extra discounts that you might be missing, I've got my video discount here that will help you as well. I'm Mark with Think Insurance. I'll see you in the next one.